So here's a stack of before and afters with Blue. Notice when she first came in, she'd get distracted, and if you correct her, then she would get way worse. And it took a bit of telling her, no, you can't just come into me or be pushy or do something bad to get me to leave you alone and let you stress out about the world around you. And it took her a little bit of time. She would go, just in this first section, in the first few minutes, she would challenge me, and then we'd find this little breakthrough where she'd go, oh, okay. And then she'd test it again, just kind of back and forth, but there were already some little moments. When I first started doing desensitizing with her, after getting that basic handle down where she wasn't in my space or being dangerous to me, she had a lot of fear. We started with the plastic bag, which is just basics for the horses, and she was very scared of it to the point where she would just shake and have a lot of trouble with that. And before too long, she started to come around with it. It took, a good solid week for her to feel competent around this stuff, but she started to be more sure of herself, and to the point where I could, a month or so in, I was really testing her with, reaction training of teaching her, hey, if a bag flashes out of nowhere, what are you going to do about it? And rather than freaking out and trying to run away, now she would turn and put her nose on it. Kind of the same thing for most of the desensitizing stuff, like with the tarp, where she would just have a meltdown, and I would stay just very calm and centered with it, and just, we're going to work through this. And eventually she would get to where she'd come around and be able to just stand on it without any help and that sort of thing, where she was getting confidence and going, maybe I'm overreacting. Saddling, I don't know how long it's been since she's been ridden. I just heard it's been a little while, but she was really struggling with the saddle for a while, and she's not really one to throw, huge bronc bucks or anything, but just very, very cinchy. As she got better with that, I started testing her, saddling her with different saddles in different environments, and she'd kind of have a meltdown if it was out in the open, so we worked it out a whole bunch until she was better handleable. She'd kind of just get in her head something, and then basic cues like that, like a direction change, she'd just miss. So she had to work on that a whole bunch before she came around. Once that got really good, we started testing things like the drag test. So phase 1 is just to have it fall off and get her better at that. I didn't get it before a video. Basically, she'd just run. It wasn't anything horrible. Like some horses will kick at it and stuff, but she would mostly just sprint. And now she got to where it would come off and she wouldn't abandon her rider. Now she's supposed to stop exactly then. Tying is still a very weak point for her. Anything that goes along, like I'm just leading a horse over here, it's not even a buddy of hers. She just kind of has a little, sometimes it's like a meltdown, other times she's just angry. Like this one is like she's just mad that she's tied to the trailer. So I actually took a couple pretty long video clips here, just as I'm not sure how much of this you've seen, and I feel like this is probably arguably the weakest point of her attributes and her abilities and her overall ability to be an upstanding citizen. So we got to be able to tie him sometimes and tack him, and right now she's just not safe for that, and she kind of just digs a hole in the ground and such, and takes her some time to settle down. She has gotten, like, this point, this is all sweat just from her being tied for 2 hours. She has gone back and forth and fought with her lead rope and gotten upset and pulled herself to the point where she was sweaty on a hot day. So she gets pretty worked up about it. It's something that really needs practice, and I'm making sure she's better at this on the outside of the trailer before I tie her inside of the trailer, because here is a lot harder for her herself. Ground driving was another huge weak point. Again, not sure how long it's been since she's been ridden. Part of the horse's issue with this can be just the ground lines themselves, but she just had very little turnability, and then the stops were a real weak point too. So like here, he's gently asking her to stop, and she's running through it and shaking her head, and she'll kind of finally come to a stop, but with a big head toss. Here, we saw a ton of attitude, where even if she'd do decent, she'd be like, I stopped well, now you're making me back up, now I'm mad about it. And you'd ask her to back up again, and she'd get more angry about it, like, well, I did good enough. So she just needed a whole lot of practice with that, and she got a good solid week of it, and I'd like to spend another solid week on it before I get on her and battle her from that, because we kind of want to make the riding the enjoyable part, since that's the main focus with them, safe on the ground, and have them enjoy the riding part. So She's going to do a lot more ground driving before I hop on her, so that way these battles are out of the way before I step in the saddle, and I'm just kind of making sure that there aren't any there in the saddle as well, but getting that out of the way before I hop on her. So that's kind of where we're at, and we'll see how she does from here. She'll continue to work on that and a whole bunch more tie time.